Imagine waking up one morning and realizing you're living the exact same day again. Not tomorrow. Not a week later. The very same day. You see the same sunlight filtering through your window. You hear the same bird chirping outside your house. You see the same notification on your phone. That's precisely what happened to Arjun, a 29-year-old office worker from Colorado. He thought he was just tired when his alarm rang at 6:32 a.m. The same tone, the same lingering half-dream he just had. He dismissed it, shaking off the weird feeling and starting his day. But then he walked outside and saw his neighbor, Mrs. Collins, drop the same bag of groceries at the exact same moment as yesterday. Oranges rolling across the pavement, just like they did before. At first, he laughed it off. He thought, maybe it's just a strong case of déjà vu. Nothing to worry about. But then he reached the office. And this is where things started getting truly strange. His coworker, Mark, told the exact same joke he told yesterday. Word for word, even the forced fake laugh afterward. His boss, in the same red tie, scolded the same person for the same minor mistake. And then, at exactly 11:14 a.m., the same client called, complaining about the same issue with the same frustrated tone in his voice. The world wasn't just similar, it was a perfect, unnerving carbon copy. Arjun decided to test his theory. He started writing the time down on a notepad whenever something repeated. He moved objects around on his desk, a stapler here, a coffee mug there just to see if anything would stick. He was desperate for proof that he wasn't losing his mind. But the next morning, his hopes were crushed. Everything had reset. The objects were back in their original positions. His notepad was blank. The ink had vanished. He was trapped, living one single, repeating day. The weirdest part, nobody else noticed. To everyone else, this was just another Tuesday. People lived that day as if it was the first time. Every time. Arjun tried telling them, explaining that they were all stuck in a loop. He'd grab Mark's shoulder and say, "You're going to tell that joke again, aren't you?" But they just brushed him off, giving him worried looks and telling him he needed more sleep. He felt completely alone, a ghost in his own life, watching the same play unfold day after day. By day 5 of the loop, he realized something chilling. It wasn't just a perfect repetition. Every time the day repeated, one tiny thing changed, a small, insignificant detail that most people would never notice. A clock in the hallway would stop 1 minute earlier each day. A poster in the office lobby for a company retreat would fade a little more, the colors growing duller. His neighbor's cat, who always sat on the fence in the morning, looked sicker with each loop. Its fur was more matted, its meow weaker. It was as if the world, his world, was slowly decorating. The fabric of his reality was fraying at the edges, and he was the only one who could see it. And then came the 7th repetition. That was the day everything snapped into horrifying focus. Arjun woke up, but this time he was greeted by an oppressive, absolute silence. No birds, no distant cars, no wind rustling the leaves. Even his phone wouldn't turn on. The screen was a dead, black mirror. A cold dread began to creep up his spine. When he stepped outside, his entire street looked abandoned. Houses with their doors hanging open. Vehicles parked crookedly in the middle of the road. And there were shadows on the walls. Strange, dark imprints, like people had vanished mid-step. Their silhouettes burned into the concrete. And in the distance, someone was standing in the middle of the road. A man, tall, perfectly still, facing away from him. Arjun felt his chest tighten, his heart pounding against his ribs. He slowly, cautiously approached the figure, his voice trembling as he called out, "Hey! Hey! Are you stuck in this too?" The man didn't move. Not an inch. As Arjun got closer, he realized with a jolt of terror that the man wasn't breathing. He was frozen in time like a mannequin left on an empty street. With his heart in his throat, Arjun circled around him, needing to see his face, needing to know who this was. And when he finally stood in front of the figure, he saw the man's face. It was his own, a perfect, flawless copy of himself, but with an expressionless void in his eyes. The eyes were open, but they were staring right through him, seeing nothing. And in that terrifying moment, as their eyes met, the copy whispered one single sentence. The voice didn't come from its lips. It sounded like it came from inside Arjun's own skull. It said, "You weren't supposed to wake up. Everything went black." Arjun's eyes snapped open. His alarm was ringing. 6:32 a.m. The bird was chirping. The sunlight streamed through the window. But this time, everything felt different. The air was crisp. The sounds were real. The loop was broken. The sky looked normal again. As he went about his day, he saw people moving normally, living new moments, not repeating old ones. It was over. He was free. But one thing changed forever. Every morning now, when Arjun looks into the mirror to brush his teeth, for just a split second, he sees it. He sees that same expressionless version of himself standing right behind him in the reflection. Silent. Waiting. Watching him, almost as if the loop didn't truly end. It just pause. Pause. And he lives every single day, terrified of the morning it starts again. Thanks for watching.